Hi kids! Welcome to Storytime Adventures. Today, we're going to learn about something very important called gravity. Are you ready? Let's jump into our time machine and travel back to the 1600s to meet a very smart man named Isaac Newton. This story will be full of interesting facts and fun adventures, so stay with us until the end. Our story starts a long time ago in England, in a quiet and pretty place with lots of green trees and rolling hills. It was the year 1665, and people were living a very different life from what we know today. There were no cars, no airplanes, and no computers. But even then, there were people who loved to learn and discover new things. One of these people was a young man named Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton was a very curious and smart person. He loved to read books and learn about the world around him. He was a scholar, which means he studied a lot and wanted to understand how everything worked. But during this time, something very bad was happening in the cities of England. A terrible sickness called the bubonic plague was spreading, and many people were getting very sick. To stay safe, Isaac had to leave his school and go back to his family's home in the countryside. Isaac went to a small village called Woolsthorpe. It was a peaceful place with lots of nature where he could think and study without any worries. One sunny afternoon, Isaac was sitting under a big apple tree in his garden. He had a book in his hand and was deep in thought, enjoying the quiet and calm around him. Suddenly, something happened that would change the world forever. An apple fell from the tree and landed right next to Isaac. He watched the apple fall and started to wonder. Why did the apple fall straight down? Why didn't it go up into the sky or sideways? Isaac thought about the apple falling for a long time. He was very curious and asked himself many questions. He wondered if there was a special force that pulled the apple down to the ground. He thought and thought until he came up with an amazing idea. Isaac's big idea was about a force that he called gravity. Gravity, he thought, was something that pulled everything towards the earth. He imagined that this force was everywhere, pulling things down no matter where they were. He started to think about how this force worked, not just for apples, but for everything in the universe. Isaac realized that gravity didn't just make apples fall. It also made sure that the moon stayed in the sky, going around the earth. He thought that gravity might even be the reason why the planets go around the sun. He started to write down his thoughts and ideas, trying to understand this special force. Isaac spent many days and nights working on his new ideas. He wrote lots of notes and made drawings to explain how gravity worked. He was very careful and wanted to make sure his ideas were right. Isaac's house was filled with papers and books as he worked hard to figure out the secrets of gravity. Years went by, and Isaac kept studying and learning more. He wanted to share his amazing discovery with the world. So, he wrote a very important book called Philosophia Naturalis Principia Mathematica, which is a very fancy name for a book about the natural world and how it works. In this book, Isaac explained his ideas about gravity and how it affects everything in the universe. Isaac's book was a big success. People all over the world started to read it and learn about his incredible discovery. Scientists and scholars were amazed by his ideas and used them to understand more about the world. Isaac's discovery of gravity helped explain so many things that people had always wondered about. Isaac Newton's work didn't stop with gravity. He made many other important discoveries in science and math. He studied light and colors, and he invented new ways to do math. He was a very busy and curious man who always wanted to learn more. Isaac Newton's discovery of gravity was super important It showed us why things fall and how the universe works. His curiosity and hard work changed the world. Because of Isaac, we can understand why we stay on the ground, why the moon doesn't fly away, and how the planets stay in their paths. Let's think about what gravity does every day. When you jump up, you always come back down because gravity is pulling you towards the earth. When you drop a toy, it falls to the ground because gravity is pulling it down. Gravity is like an invisible friend that keeps everything in place.
Even today, scientists use Newton's ideas to explore space and understand how things move. Gravity helps us in so many ways. When astronauts go to space, they have to think about gravity and how it changes when they leave the Earth. Gravity helps us understand how stars and planets move and how the universe works. In space, gravity is different. There's less gravity, so things float around. Astronauts practice in special places on Earth where there's less gravity so they can get ready for their missions. It's all thanks to Isaac Newton's discovery that we know so much about gravity and how it works in space. But gravity isn't just for space and science. It's part of our everyday lives. When you ride a bike, gravity helps keep you on the ground. When you go down a slide, gravity pulls you down. Gravity is always there, helping us and making sure everything stays in its place. Let's talk more about how Isaac Newton's work has helped people. His ideas are used in schools all over the world. Kids and grown-ups learn about gravity because it's so important for understanding the world. Scientists use his ideas to build things like bridges and skyscrapers, making sure they are safe and strong. Isaac's ideas about gravity and motion are also used in sports. When you throw a ball, gravity helps it come back down. Athletes use their knowledge of gravity to jump higher and run faster. Engineers use gravity to design roller coasters and fun rides in amusement parks. Gravity makes sure the rides are thrilling and safe at the same time. Even artists use gravity in their work. Painters and sculptors think about how gravity will affect their creations. They use this knowledge to make beautiful art that stays in place and doesn't fall over. One of the most amazing things about gravity is that it works the same way everywhere. Whether you are on the top of a mountain or by the sea, gravity is always there, pulling you towards the earth. It's like a giant hug from the planet, keeping everything where it should be. Let's imagine a world without gravity. If there were no gravity, we would all float around like astronauts in space. It would be very hard to walk, eat, or even sleep. Everything would be floating around, and it would be very hard to do anything. Gravity helps us live our lives by keeping our feet on the ground and everything in its place. Isaac Newton's story teaches us the importance of curiosity and hard work. He didn't just accept things the way they were, he asked questions and looked for answers. And because of that, he changed the world. Remember, kids, the next time you see an apple fall, think about Isaac Newton and his great discovery of gravity. Think about how this simple event led to one of the biggest ideas in science. And always stay curious, just like Isaac. Thanks for joining our adventure, kids. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fun stories. We love sharing amazing tales with you, and we can't wait to go on more adventures together. See you next time on Storytime Adventures.